So here I am just thinking about what is the best example to give you guys for this specific video. I have this correction pen here, so nothing great about this. So when I drop this pen from the top to bottom, it does flow from the top to bottom. Now this is how every language in the world is written by. So you have something at the top and you start reading from that till the bottom. So that's how the programming languages are also actually structured in a way. So in Dart specifically, we have a top to bottom approach, meaning that every program at some point starts at the top and it keeps going down, and that's how the control of the program flows through. These are called as control statements, which will control the flow of these data from one point to another. You could say if something happens, then you do this, and if it does not happen, then you can do that. So technically what you're saying is that you're giving it a path. For example, if something happens to this, so technically you're saying route this to here. And technically again, if you say if it does not happen, route it to this part. So that's how the control statements are structured in any programming languages. That is not anything different. It does have a lot of important control statements which we're going to be talking about in this video. So I'm going to be taking you guys through simple set of slides, maybe 3 or 4 slides only. And we're also going to write some piece of code wherein I'm going to be telling you guys what are the different control statements that are available with Dart. And in this video, we're also going to be talking about your first task for this course. So technically just read out to the entire video, wait for the entire video to play out, and I'm going to be giving you guys a task towards the end of this video. Make sure you do that and put that in the comment section below, and I'll be reviewing that out so that you guys can let me know if there is anything complex about this. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Why waste time? Let's get this video started. Alright, the control statements in Dart, like I've told you guys, is the way to control a data flowing from top to bottom. What exactly do they do? So we have popular control statements which we call our if-else statements, just like I told you guys in the start of this video. And then we have something called as loop. Right? In the loop, we have a for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So these are the most basic control statements that you will find in any programming languages. So just like I've put in the right, always remember that the direction of the program is from the top to bottom. There are very few languages which are actually bottom up, which we don't have to worry about because all the major mainstream programming languages are read from the top to bottom. Alright, so we have actually understood that there is something called as a control statement which will control the flow of a program from the top to bottom. Obviously, we have something called as if-else statement. So what exactly do the if-else statements do? Let's go back to our Dart pad here. Alright, in this Dart pad, I'm going to be writing my first piece of control statement. Now, like I told you, the control statements go from top to bottom. Let's assume that we have a variable called as int of a is equal to 10. Now, what exactly am I trying to do here? I'm going to say if the value a is equal to 10, then you print value is 10. Awesome, right? So what exactly are we doing here? We actually have written our first piece of control statement which says that if the value of a is equal to 10, meaning that equal to is an operator that assigns or checks if the whatever to the left is equal to the right. So exactly here is a is equal to 10, meaning that you are checking for an equality there. If it is true, then you print the value is 10. Now go back to the right, the else block here, meaning that if it does not, then you print value is not 10. So what exactly have we done here? We have actually controlled the flow of data. Instead of going directly down, we've controlled this data and told that something is going to happen, then enter this block of data only. If it does not happen, enter this block of data. Just click on run here. As you can see, the value is 10. Now, what if we change the value of 10 to 11? You get the logic, right? So it's going to become, instead of 10, it's going to print a not 10. So that's how you control your data using your if-else block. Now, what exactly is the loop block? Now, let's assume that you have a data to be printed 10 times. I want to print a 10 times in my console. I could do this this, and I can just do it for 10 times. It will print the same value. For example, here it does print it 3 times. Now what I want to do is, instead of using my space and my time to write this, which is actually very simple, we could actually go for our next set of statements called as looping statements. Now what do loops do? They loop something finite number of times. We are going to be controlling the loop in such a way that We give a starting point, we give an ending point, and that way the data is going to be looped that many times only. Now I can do is that I can write my first for loop wherein I'm going to say I is equal to 1 colon I less than a I plus plus. Now how do you read this? Now what exactly I was saying is that the semicolon separated words are nothing but the starting point, the ending point, and the iterator. Now the left one is here is the int of I is equal to 1 is where we are actually initializing the value of a variable called as I into 1. And the second block, which is after the semicolon, we are saying that go until I is becoming less than 10, which is actually the value of A. And we are saying that I plus plus, you must remember the operators that we did when we did I plus plus, which is nothing but plus plus equals adding 1 to the number. So when you just print now here, which means that we're just printing the value of A, you'll see that it's getting printed 9 times, and that's exactly what is happening with the looping statements. They're actually making our life so much easier by printing or doing the same stuff repeatedly finite number of times. Now there are other additional looping statements as well, like the while loop and the do while loop, which are nothing complex. Again here, just do the same thing, apply this while A is already equal to 10, right? So we need a variable called as I is equal to 1. Now we're going to say that I less than 10, we can print the value of A, but what we are doing here is that we are saying I is less than 10, print the value of A, but we are not actually giving the iterator yet. Iterator is where the value of I gets incremented 1 by 1 by 1 until the I becomes less than 10. So how do you increment the value? Just go below the print statement and put our first iterator. Now when you do this, it's automatically doing the same work for us here. Nothing's going to change here, same thing's going to get printed, and we are done with the while loop. Similarly, we also have another something called a do while loop, which actually is a little bit different in terms of what happens before the while loop begins. Now we had a while loop, right? We could write something like a do while loop, which should do nothing much more than just do the work of this first and then come to the while block. So we have actually initialized the I is equal to 1. We could say print A, and we can say that I should be less than A, I plus plus. So what exactly we are doing is that instead of actually going into our while block immediately, it first checks the do block and then works the while block. Just nothing complex, just these are just the legacy code, like how the C and C++ used to do, and that's why do while is also being supported by Dart. Other than the most basic use case of while and for, nobody uses do while a lot, at least as far as I know. So these are the 3 or 4 important control statements that we have looked at in this video. Now that we have looked at the most important looping statements, we could actually control the looping statements in another way as well. So we're going to be using the break and the continue keywords to cut out or come out of a looping statement, because let's assume that something is running for 1000 times. What if you want to stop at the 900th position itself? You could use the break statement to come out of the loop, and that's what we're going to be seeing. And the next part is a switch case, which is the most legacy way of writing if else statement, and finally assert statement as well. So that's what you're going to be looking at now. Alright, so now the combination of the idea is to actually make use of the break keyword to come out of a loop, which is going to happen for more than 15 times. Now what we're going to do is create a simple for loop here. Just put for of int I is equal to 1. You could say I is less than 15, and it'll say I plus plus. Now when you print the value of I, it's going to get printed. In the value of A, it's going to get printed 15 times. But what if you want to come out of the loop on the 11th time itself? what you're going to do is first print the value of a, and then you're going to come and check in the below. We're going to use our control statements and check what is the value of I. If I is equal to 11, that means that the loop has to come out, right? So when you do that, when I is equal to 11, just break the loop. So when you do this, exactly you're coming out of the loop and we are actually done with the break statement. So when you count it to the right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when the value is 11, it's going to break out of the loop and we are done with our breaking statement. So that's how you control the flow of a loop very much easily, and that's it for this section. The next section is going to be about the switch case, which is very simple. Again, we are looking at some very legacy code, legacy in terms of C and C++ days. Nobody uses switch case again now. So switch cases give a simple way of organizing things rather than maybe so switch cases does give you a little bit edge over organizing things rather than anything other than that. Meaning if else do work the same way. Instead of writing a lot of if else, we could directly write a switch case where we are going to execute something case by case. For example, let's say that we have a switch statement here, and the switch statements is going to be with respect to the value a. Now we could say that the case, for example, we are saying that case 10, which is the value of a, when it comes, you're going to print the value. You're going to say print value is 10. Remember this example, this is what we did in the previous one. So we're going to do that. So we're going to say if the case is 10, meaning that the value of a becomes 10 at some point, print the value is 10. If the case becomes something other than 10, then you print. Case becomes 11, you print the same thing here. So you just print value is 11. Now if it does not break the switch case. Now this looks really simple to see, but what is the difference does this make over your if-else statements? Technically nothing bigger other than the fact that you are controlling individual cases, which will be very much useful if you are looking at say a large complex amount of data. Other than that, switch case does not have any other use, so do not worry much about reading this part. So again, this is the entire section of your control statements in Dart. Very simple. Just have to take a little bit of your time and understand how these things work, and time to look at our first task in Dart. Alright, time to look at our first program, which is going to be your assignment for doing in Dart. Alright, so the first task that you have to do is just read through this. Use an if-else statement followed by one looping statement to control the flow of a program. Now you got to incorporate your if-else, you got to incorporate your for loop, and you got to write a program that does not include what we did so far today. You need not worry about what other data types you can use. You can use your data type like your string, you can use a data type like double of values, and all of these things can be incorporated in your program. Let me know what you can do and what you cannot do so that I can make sure that you understand this concept much better. Put that in the comment section below. Time to go and summarize this entire video. Alright, so we did learn about the control statements in Dart. We saw how if-else work, how for loop works, how while and do while work as well. To summarize this video, make sure that you understand how the data flows throughout a program. Dart in particular is again top to bottom. Make sure that you understand that everything has to come from some point and end at some point. Be it your control statement, be it your looping statements, all are very important for the life cycle of a program. Make sure you take notes, do the task as well, put that out in the comment section. Let me see if you can do that. Let me know if you have any other suggestions or doubts as well in the comment section. I'll be very happy to answer that. Let me meet you in the next video. Time for the next video on functions and much more.